is interesting. So, in terms of champions that I would like to see, I mean, we still have, like, Vi. We still have Qiyana. I'm saying these champions because I'm looking at the most playeds. And Jwei has just been mostly focused on playing a lot of the assassins. Again, the Qiyana, the Ambessa, the Pantheon.
Well, if you want the best early game jungler, you can try and just snag the Pantheon for yourself. Please let there be something else. Oh my god, the chase is through!
Wait!
I
Wait,
didn't even
what?
see that! Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, anyone's legend had to have known that this was in motion because Tarzan beasted with it. So, now here's my proposal. Tarzan has a counter pick prepared for the Jwei jungle. What is it going to be? I don't know. But please, Tarzan, I need you to cook. I need you to cook.
All right, we get the second ever Jwei here in LPL, and it is against Tarzan. I think it's a very dangerous gauntlet, but Jwei did get nerfed on this patch, and I think this is a good way for AL, who have a 1-up on the series, to kind of test, is this champion still good, and do we have potential counters? Because if you can figure out a Jwei counter, that's one less ban you have to worry about in series for the rest of the season, depending on how long Jwei stays in meta. So, get back into the draft here. AL, they get a strong bot lane immediately by picking up this Misfortune for Hope, and IG are going to respond by taking away the Alistar and preventing the Rel coming on through.
Now, Malphite emerged as the answer into Jwei when we were watching Demacia Cup because you can just stack armor and you ignore all the poke that Jwei. Exactly. And the Anivia for Rookie. Okay, well, here's the caveat. If you can get in position to set up walls and your ultimate, that guarantees that they are in range for an accelerated shock blast. So there's some decent ways to play out some poke and trying to chunk at health bars before they get into setup for an objective point. All right, so nothing new, but it is Qiyana for Tarzan. So I'm always excited to see Tarzan on an assassin at the very least. Not really seeing anything out of the ordinary for the Jwei answer, but if anyone's legend just end up muscling and brute forcing their way through this very, very oppressive pick, then, I mean, I think then that is going to have a snowball effect for the rest of the league watching this match and just saying, do we need to start banning the Jwei anymore?
Yeah, I think, again, when you are playing here in the LPL, any kind of series like this, you are going to suddenly draw eyes. Maybe that even says to the rest of the teams that AL themselves are obviously not prioritizing this champion. We'll get through the second phase of draft with a lot of great 80 carries already take away. 3 80 carry bans coming on through from AL with the Sivir added on top of that. So what else is Photic going to be going for? He has picked up the Senna in a prior series back in Demacia Cup. You could also maybe look for like a Jhin answer. I'm not super excited about it, but I just think that this core from IG is really strong. Like Alistar, Jwei, Anivia is good enough to win games in my opinion, regardless of everything around it.
You want to double down on poke? I guess Ezreal's okay, but then if they slam a tank, then you're...
I think if you play Ezreal, you're doing nothing this game. You are actually a patient. You're just waiting for the rest of the game to happen to you. So, man, I'm still hung up on this Qiyana because in my heart of hearts, I would have loved to have seen a Zed here, but we're not going to be getting. I think
that would have been a little more exciting. But I mean, listen, if the best jungle in the LPL busts out a Qiyana, I will not be mad versus majority of the other skirmishers that he could have gone for.
You will be if we go to game 3. You will be mad if we go to game 3.
I mean, a little bit, but also there's one more chance of getting a Diana Yasuo, and you know I'll take that even if it's a 1% chance. Now, anyone's legend are setting up counter pick for the top lane. What is the Ezreal? I can see Alk just so unamused.
Dude, like Ezreal Jwei, that's fine. I think Anivia, great. I'm looking at this comp. And while it is very short-ranged here from AL, that is going to play into some of the strengths of IG. Now, because Flandre doesn't play Gnar all that much, this is kind of his answer into Renekton. We also haven't seen a ton of Cassante games from Flandre, so this makes sense. It does mean that they are very burst reliant, and this is a way that you can get around this Anivia. Anivia is going to be very problematic in this game, not even including her wall, but just the ultimate is going to make it difficult for AL to walk forward. The wall is also a way for Rookie to stop this bullet time from very long range, which I think is hilarious. So there is very many ways that we could see IG win this one, but I need to see it happen. And we have seen very many tragic mid-games where IG somehow throw from winning positions and then the game is just over. And now that you have the most broken jungler in competitive right now, even with the 26-2 nerfs that we're playing on, there is a lot of weight now on Jwei. I think if you lose on Jace jungle in competitive, in LPL, you're probably the worst team in Group Ascent.
Damn. Condemning words from Alk, and I can't say
at least
I
in
disagree.
LEC you have the excuse of being European. Like you're never winning on this champion.
Oh, oofta. I don't know if we'll ever see an LCS Jace jungle, but it's been permanently banned. Well, let's find out what happens in this game 2 between Anyone's Legend and IG.
I just realized, Raafaa, we have double first strike on our junglers, so
Epic.
Some spicy stuff. Now let's see if it ends up delivering here. Also, want to note, keystones for both of our supports very different. Aftershock for Kael, Jwei going for the spellbook, so should be a pretty big combat advantage coming in for Anyone's Legend early on, to be expected with an MF.
Kael always has to be a little careful about Zenith blading into this lane, though, because if Ezreal ever buffers it towards the turret, it's a lot easier for Jwei to then punish and punt Kael back into the turret.
Yeah, but right now what I'm seeing is that they're getting kind of they're getting, as you said at the end of game 2, you know, there's a, it's always okay to get clapped a little bit, but this is a little too early, 2 minutes deep. Photic and them, they will finally hit level 2 alongside their lane opponents, but getting zoned off of the golden experience right now does kind of suck.
I'm trying to decide if it's ever good for Jwei to pulverize Flash forward.
Not in this matchup. That sounds terrible. Yeah. That sounds like a bad time.
Yeah, you probably don't have enough all-in damage from Ezreal, even if you have your, what is it, your passive fully stacked up and you have max attack speed. Speaking of which, for actually I want to ask you, Alk, I think we had lower thirds prepped for this series. I don't remember what was on those lower thirds.
So we could do this now. Basically, it's talking about strengths of schedule coming up. We can bring up AL's first on the lower third here. Just mostly looking at the future, because both of these teams kind of sitting at an inflection point. Why do we have to have this number over the JDG thing? Okay, cool. So AO's remaining games are going to be against arguably some of the weaker teams going into this. Some of these records are wrong. The top esports should be swapped with BLG at 4-2, but going against the 2 top teams of the league I think is really big, and going up against 2 other teams that are at the bottom in Weibo and top esports does kind of set themselves up for success to potentially end as a top level group here in Group Ascend. And for IG, we can look at it later. I do think we're going to have a little bit of action here, mostly due to the fact that Tarzan is trying to utilize the priority of the bottom lane and move with Kael into enemy bot side.
Sure. For anyone that's curious on what the Jace nerfs were, it was just a little bit of damage off of his Q against monsters. So in reality, it's low-key fake. Yes, it slows down the initial clear, but once he gets his first back, which is this serrated Dirk, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. He's still going to power clear through the jungle relatively efficiently, and his overall damage to champions is unaffected and therefore still insanely oppressive. When this guy hits Youmuu's Ghost Blade and he starts poking you from Fog of War on lane with accelerated shock blast, if you're having a lead in lane in HP, you can kiss that goodbye.
I think I saw some Jwei mains were a little upset about the Youmuu's. I get why in competitive, just mostly movement speed is really at a premium. Just moving around the map is a lot faster. I think some of them were upset because you really want to try to go for like max ability haste, or if you're really trying to crush damage, like I think Bastion Breaker is still fine as a first item. You could go for opportunity as well because you're going to be attacking from far range. The amount of flat lethality you get access to is insane. So I wonder what Jwei is going to choose. It is most likely still going to be the Youmuu's, but I want everyone at home that if you ever get access to this champion, think a little bit. You know, let's put some thought into some of the items that we're purchasing here. As we see IG just moving through mid lane, some vision that's being controlled. It looks like for AL, they were trying to see if Shanks could find a recall because he was a little bit low on mana, so they just try to force that wave underneath the turret to crash.
I mean, the ideal item for Jwei, if he actually had an ultimate, would be Axiom Arc. But unfortunately, that passive, that passive does not work for Jwei, and therefore that's a big part of the budget value. But otherwise, it would have been super cheap. 20 ability haste, 18 lethality, 55 AD. It's not bad stat-wise, but yeah.
You know what? It's actually, since we're cooking here, you know what's really spicy? You go blue trinket. I'm gonna hold this. I see some people grouping around the bottom side of the map right now.
Tarzan's going to challenge Jwei on this Tribush. Both
Nice
are level
first strike
5s, so Jwei is still technically stronger. No supreme display of talent available, but at least for Tarzan, is able to walk his way out. Cute little shock blast, not going to do that much.
This Scuttle gets level 6, and it gives the jungle treat upgrade.
Oh, Jwei, he gets the pulverize, and the rest of IG are trying to follow up. He sends it to the skies. Decent damage when Tarzan goes back in, dashes out, flashes away. Shanks arrives with the Realm Warp. It's the first blood going over to Photic. Ezreal, and he makes it out alive. Rookie forced to flash away. He's still got an egg passive. Hope is going to send it. Can anyone from IG bail him out? I don't think so. Over the wall, Jwei sends it one last time for the egg pulverize. At least Jwei trades it out against Hope, but Jwei is about to get dropped, but they cannot commit.
Oh!
1-2! Tarzan finds it, stuns up Jwei punts him in, pulverized, Photic cleans it up, and IG find their best early game so far.
4-2 in kills, a lot of that going on to Photic, and while nobody got the Scuttle Crab, a big win here for Invictus Gaming, as they got every single summoner spell under the sun. Jwei, with a bit of an earlier engage, stops the Leona from moving forward, and I think just buying time for Rookie to get to this fight first. This Cryostorm is putting up a lot of work. I mean, it's preventing Hope from walking forward, and while Photic gets the dash out, he lives on sub 10 HP. AL have not enough damage. The egg passive from Rookie also buying a lot of space and time for this team. And AL just don't have the damage. Imagine if Tarzan or Hope had level 6 in this fight. This would be a big game changer in this one. That supreme display of talent could have made a big difference, but thankfully for IG, nobody was able to contest on that Scuttle.
It is such a pivotal moment for IG to just trust in their hands and try and force a check against anyone's legend and see what would become of it. And it ends up going their way. Photic not going down in the crossfire whatsoever, gets himself 3 freaking kills on Ezreal.
Yeah.
This guy already with the tier stacked up to 87 and 2 of the 3 components for Trinity Force. This guy's hitting Trinity Force before 10 minutes, and that is going to be a massive wake up. And Shanks, no flash available. That's what we talked about in the draft. The Cryostorm into the wall, sets up the Shock Blast, and Shanks should go down to 1 more. Jwei on the board now, 2 kills with the Jwei, and because of the priority for both of his solo lanes, he should be able to get all these grubs for free.
I mean, Shanks moved him in. Really great setup coming in from Rookie. This is going to open up a big lead here for Invictus. No Dragon even being started, so AL on the back foot pretty heavily. This neutralizes some of the lane matchups that we had set up for. Hope was doing good on the MF, but now with those 3 kills, that's massive. Flandre's going to look for a solo kill onto Soboro. 1 more passive proc from Flandre gets him low, but it's not enough thanks to this Dominus healing.
Yeah, just ends up being a trade of ultimates in the top lane. Teleport's still available for both Flandre and Soboro. So Flandre will probably get a chance to push in this one last wave before deciding whether he wants to just immediately TP back to continue relentlessly with the pressure. Maybe try and get a chunk out so he has an HP advantage. There's still a dragon to contest for. No ultimate from Flandre, but I don't know, maybe there's an angle to try and roam bot lane. But it doesn't look like he has the window anymore now that the next wave is starting to crash against Soboro's Redacted.
I think we should be looking. I mean, Rookie has no flash. Jwei has no flash. Jwei himself, as the Jace, has no flash. And we have this Leona, but Tarzan's going to continue to farm up camps. He wants to finish out those jungle treats, get himself to 1,000 damage smite. It's not going to turn into anything, so IG are going to grab first dragon at 10 minutes.
He's going to push
Raafaa, I'm feeling good about this right now. I really don't even care that Tarzan's taking away a Raptor camp. This is kind of the only real play he has to try to counter. Maybe they could go for something top. I mean, Soboro has no TP. He doesn't have dominance for another 30. Tarzan's just going to take camps.
There's a good ward here, though, from Soboro, which will spot Tarzan on the top side. So it gives information to Jwei, and now he can make a counter invade and just steal back camps. And so it just ends up equalizing in terms of overall camp advantage. In fact, Jwei's still up on camps.
Oh, yeah.
So this just ensures that Jwei is still ahead of the curve overall. Nice shot blast from downtown, too.
That was max range. That was max range there. And he gets the scuttle on bottom side. This is a jungler's paradise right now. Maybe trying to see if they can catch Hope. It will be on vision. Jwei could actually tank this. He has no flash.
Time. Decent chunk on the way, but if Jwei is the one taking up the turret shots, it's still going to be an IG dive perfectly executed. And just like that, the gold lead continues to balloon in IG's favor. In game one, Anyone's Legend were able to bring it back in the mid-game, but this is looking pretty nice from Anyone's Legend. Realm Warp. Looking for Photic. Jwei flashes away. Can he arcane shift over the wall?
Oh!
Clips him, but he flashes away from the stun. Shanks tries to push his luck. It's a flash from
Tarzan's
Tarzan.
dead.
But now, oh my goodness, he is exploded. And IG continued to be up on the play.
Yeah, Photic already got hit with the ultimate on the first round from the Supreme Display Talent, so I don't think it applies a second piece of damage. I mean, Soboro's tanky enough. This is what this Dominus allows you to do, and Flandre doesn't really have the damage quite yet. That Electrocute is falling off. The Merc Tread's already completed here for Soboro. He gets himself a turret plate, and IG are winning everywhere on the map. This bottom lane never worked. We already got the kills in the mid, and because we try to overextend for that scuttle, IG find themselves with a 2,500 gold lead now, coming from mostly the bottom lane because of how many kills went over to Photic early.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. 2.2 thousand gold advantage for Invictus Gaming. Next couple objectives aren't spawning for just under 3 minutes time, but right now the big mid-game item wake-ups are online for IG. Youmu's we already talked about. Rod of Age is starting to stack up for rookies and Nivea. The Trinity Force fully completed. There's even a nice locket for Jwei, which is a good pivot just to block a lot of the upfront burst that is coming from Anyone's Legend, because like you said, I mean, yeah, this is mostly a 4-carry composition from Anyone's Legend, but they cannot burst out IG in that initial spell rotation. How should I put this, Alk? Pumice should cook. They are so out of this game. And Soboro might be under threat in the tower. The Shock Blast, good sidestep from Kael. That could have been dicey for Anyone's Legend support.
I can maybe keep going for Shanks here. Yeah, Shanks, I don't think you're allowed to stay up here. It doesn't even matter that the turret is available.
Kael is going to flash right on top of Jwei, forces the flash. And now there's really nothing that Anyone's Legend can do here. Tarzan has Supreme Display of Talent available. He dashes over the wall. And they're just going to try and take stock that this Jace does not have flash anymore. Oh, Supreme Display of Talent clips 2 under the wall, but Jwei
no damage.
Barely takes any damage. Yeah, this is not looking good for the Kiana at this point in the game.
Can I ask, how much first strike knowledge do you have? Because does Jace get more gold? Okay, so the way let me frame this question properly. So first strike, lets you gain gold based on the amount of damage you did during the time that the first strike passive was active. And you get more of it. The gold that is equal to the most damage is based on whether you're melee or you're ranged. Now, if you're melee, it's 50% of the damage you dealt. It turned into gold. If you are ranged, it's 35%. If you are Jwei and you proc first strike with the accelerated shock blast and you go into melee form, does it give you more gold?
I'm not sure. I think that's a practice tool answer.
Okay, I will go into practice tool after this and I will go try it out. Everybody will put a pin in this and we'll come back to this in game 3. Seemingly game 3 is going to happen at this point because IG have a really, really solid lead and their composition is very good here.
It does come down to IG being disciplined enough to play on these spike advantages before anyone's legend is able to match them. So Tarzan is able to pick up his second item, so he's kind of matching Jwei in terms of power level on the map. This opportunity shock blast, though, can chunk out any squishy. Oh my goodness, yep. That's a third of Tarzan's HP right there.
Oh boy. I mean, this is why we just never see this. 2 item Jwei's already done. We're talking about items anyway. Rookie has a 2-minute head start on his Rod of Ages compared to Shanks. So Dragon goes over. I mean, IG are in such a strong position. You have power spikes coming through for almost everybody. You also have 3 grubs for this team, I want to remind them. AL also haven't completed 2 of their quests.
Solar Flare does connect on the Photic. He burns the cleanse. No flash available, but thankfully you already had the arcane shift. Kael is just pressuring forward, trying to give space for Tarzan's Kiana to burn down this Rift Herald without any contest, but Jwei was never going to check it. He was committed to the bottom tier 1 turret. Kiana does pick up the Rift Herald for anyone's legend. Curious to see where they want to send it.
Oh, this mini wave is going to sell him out. Fantastic actor from that first minion in the wave. Melee minion, GOAT, if you're an AL fan.
07. Right 07 in the chat.
He tanked that shock blast for the homies. But you just gave Rookie an entire bot lane turret, and now potentially a second as he's looking to try to get more plates. If this is the actualizer build coming through for an Anivia, good luck. You are going to be having you're going to have Anivia with lower base ability cooldowns and a bunch of extra damage.
Rookie still has the egg passive. Ice Cube connects, Supreme Display of Talent.
Oh no!
Stun, but Jwei comes in with a teleport and just no real follow-up effectively from Shanks. Jwei, headbutt pulverize on the Kael. You know, just to say, what's up, man? How you doing? Flandre. Oh, that's
nice.
Dude, these shock blasts are starting to become a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's infinity. It's the red smite coming through, so you deal more damage when you hit them. Opportunity, the lethality that's available, the first strike, it's probably helping. Flandre almost dies to this. Photic's going to try to snipe.
No
it's not going to land.
Okay. Flandre is torn whether he wants to help out Kael or just let him die. And you know what? His support does make it out alive, but this tier 1 turret on the top side is definitely going down. Rift Herald was spawned in the mid lane, so they'll try to make a trade. Photic is trying to do his best to defend this turret from falling, and for what it's worth, it does not go down, is living on 10% HP.
But Raafaa, like, we give another turret to Rookie. And by the way, we are 17.5 minutes, and Shanks has still not completed his quest. He is very far behind in comparison right now.
RIP.
Doesn't have the upgraded recall, doesn't have the tier 3 boots. So this Anivia is very fed, and that's worrisome for AL because this Anivia is a champion that they don't interact with very well. Even in that play, going for the Supreme Display of Talent, because you're not in the river, you don't get the stun. There's no stun associated with it. It's only the water form gives you the stun there. So nothing done for AL as they lose out more gold on the map. They're going to bleed resources and continue to give over to an IG that, frankly, considering this is Helper's first time on the stage, I wonder if they just forgot.
Well, at the very least, if Hope ever gets tagged by a shock blast, he can try and sustain off of a minion wave or jungle camps with Bloodthirster. But yeah, everyone else feels the burden of those Jwei EQs, and IG are ready to pounce on this Flandre Aurora. Jwei erupts even in the bunny step. Good night, Flandre. Now IG have the 5-4 advantage. They are forced to force this play onto Soboro's Renekton, but he's just going to flash over the wall and get back to safety.
There's no dragon, another turret plate, now split between Rookie and Jwei. I think that AL, while trying to make these map attempts, they will grab a mid-tier one, but I just don't think it's worth it. They've now given over 3 turrets to this Anivia, and you're bleeding gold everywhere. This is kind of a really smart way from IG, and this is the team without Rise, by the way. Like, I want to make sure that that's evidently clear to everybody at home. Typically, it's the team that has Rise that you can kind of cheat tempo around the map, whether it's Realm Warp or the new home guards in these lanes. Rookie is getting so much funneled into him. And while he hasn't been a big part of this game, I do think he's going to become a huge problem point if he's not already one.
The fact that Anivia is getting a free pass into scaling into 3-item territory is just... that is a worrying prospect if you are anyone's legend. He's already got the Lost Chapter for what I assume you called out to be the Actualizer, and, you know, even Kael, thankfully he's got the Aftershock. No, he used the Locket. Wow. He was forced to use the Locket just so he could stay as healthy as possible because they are going to try and force a fight around this 3rd dragon.
I think his health bar is just more important here, just saving the current amount of HP that you have versus the Aftershock. Also has the Eclipse if he needs it, so you will have so many resistances as is Leona for a short time. Gives them some possibility. Flandre getting caught now is the worst possibility. This is not a thing that we're looking for. Not having ult for this upcoming
Shanks.
dragon fight's even worse. Kael has a huge flank, but is he going to be able to make use of it?
AL have to hold the line and make sure that IG don't backstep into their jungle and find Kael before he pops the flank. He's walking into the tri-bush. Is this a real angle? TP behind from Flandre. Kael springs from a jump scare bush.
They found Jwei!
They found Jwei! Don't tell me they bring this back from this position! Soboro gets pushed back by the supreme display of talent, but his goal is just to make sure Hope doesn't get to play the fight. He tries to step back, but Tarzan wastes him, and IG will still try to look for this dragon, but they don't have a smite available if Tarzan shows back up. But it looks like he's too low to participate.
They're not going to do this anymore. Oh, man, that is a heartbreaker. A lot used to try to force that out, and I like the flank from Soboro. Despite him going down, he puts a lot of pressure onto the back line of AL and makes this flank from Kael almost a kind of just a plain trade. Love this vision coming through. Great toggle yet again. And a flank, I mean, Kael puts everything into killing Jwei. And Flandre and Shanks are trying to kill him, but now it's Jwei standing in between him and Hope. Soboro as well. This tanky Renekton, even if he gives his life, he did his job. He prevented AL from contesting this dragon.
And because Shanks got dropped by the initial Cryostorm usage, could not help Flandre deal with the 3-man, and Jwei was able to easily set him up to be knocked down by the 2 carries of IG. That was probably anyone's legend's best attempt at trying to stabilize the game. They did bring down the gold lead by about 1,500, but is it going to be enough? That is the question now that Jwei on this Jwei is 3 items. Tarzan also 3 items. Oh no,
Kael's dead.
Found again. Hang on, he's tanky enough with the Aftershock. He goes on to Photic next. Tarzan trying to force Jwei in a comfortable position. He flashes forward, looks for Jwei. He depletes him.
Okay.
Is this turnable for anyone's legend? He's going forward still, but he gets dropped by Photic's Ezreal in the end.
Kael!
Two-shot barrage wipes out Kael. The bullet time trades against Jwei. This game is getting messy, but all this time spent for that fight out, and IG's top laner is pushing into the base.
I think no matter what IG do in some of these fights, as long as they don't outright lose a complete fight, their side laning will save them this game. Their 3 grubs will make it so difficult for AL to commit to one side of the map. And this was Kael living for a long time, but a great job from IG to try to find him. Tarzan is trying his damnedest. He is one of the most mechanical junglers. We were so impressed, especially with the flexibility of styles we have gotten from Tarzan throughout the year. A little too far from the rest of his team, but the job was kill Jwei. Everything after that was a mystery. They haven't really gotten past that part very many times here in this game, so they're still trying to problem solve on the fly.
Yep. Thinking the game plan when they wrote it up, they were just like, yep, kill Jayce. And then, well, we'll figure it out from there.
You know, usually if you kill Jayce first start of the fight, that's usually a win.
Yeah.
And I want to pull our attention, because we spent a lot of the time between 15 and 20 minutes talking about Rookie. He's almost sub 1,000 gold deficit now. Like, he had a 2,000, 2,500 gold lead, and Shanks has cleared a lot of that up alongside AL. So that's a little worrisome, but again, IG in general are still ahead. They have control of the map, and they're still on soul point here. So whether it's the Baron or the Dragon in 2 minutes time, I'm still looking for how they're going to look to try to close this game out and send us to a third.
Interesting third item purchase from Photic. It's the Endless Hunger, and he's actually working on a second tier as well. He's going to be building a Seraph's Embrace. I have not seen double tier Ezreal in so long. The last time I saw it was 2020.
I would say it's generally okay because he's going to have access to Seraphs. I don't like it here because I don't think he's going to stack it up in time. I think we are close towards the end of this game. It's going to take him another 5 minutes to finish this and still do the item. So if he's expecting this to go a little bit later, that's great. Let's talk about the Endless Hunger. This item gives you flat Omnivamp, and it gives you ability haste based on bonus AD, which for Ezreal makes your basic abilities, if you land a Mystic Shot, basically non-existent. And once he gets a kill, he's going to get a bunch of Omnivamp for the 3 seconds. So I think it's a really cool item. It's basically an item that is almost purpose-built for Ezreal, but that is also the case for a lot of items across the board this season. We have items that are very niche in their application. Actualizer is one of them. Protoplasm's a bit more niche, right? Endless Hunger is just going to add on to that list.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw this item, I expected this to be like an Ambessa item, and sometimes we see it built like 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th. It's also been really good on, I mean, if you ever play in solo queue and see like a Riven on the enemy team, and then you see her build that, you are never killing her, especially if she's got that and death stance.
Goodbye, Soboro.
Legend. Good TP. He's out of
All
there.
right.
Potential engaged Jwei onto 2 people. Shot blast and the Mystic Shots. Wow, that's a lot of damage into the backline. Kael able to soak up some of it, but Hope is going to need to be able to touch a minion wave with those guns so that she can heal back up to full.
All right, 20 seconds left on Soboro's shield after the teleport here. I think as AL, you really don't want to give this to her, but I don't think you have an option here. Look at this Cryo Storm and the wall as well. Hope is able to heal. This is now Soul for Invictus Gaming. Every 5 minutes as long as this dragon is stolen. But AL needs to move forward, and Kael's looking for a flank. Flandra's also teleported alongside them, but they're on vision right now. AL are going to maybe look to force through mid lane.
Jwei, immediate flash onto the rise. He tries to flash away. Bullet time, clips a couple members. Rookie's brought to 50% HP. Tarzan with the Supreme Slave talent. Hits 2. They blow up Jwei once
no
again.
way!
Onto the back lane. Trades 1 on back. Hope is blown up. Shanks is next. Tarzan is doing everything that he can, but Flandre and him are just not enough against Invictus Gaming, and Photic's Ezreal will be able to survive it all. Soboro continues to slice through this bunny girl, and the rest of Invictus Gaming will rally behind the Renekton. The Mountain Soul will be secured off of the ace from IG, and this game is looking to be an Invictus Gaming win.
IG, they're too far ahead at this point. The poke from Jwei is getting rid of everything, and Rookie in these fights as Anivia, I know he's been a bit quiet, but I just think that the Cryo Storm, the wall, you saw Hope there, he had to use his flash to jump over. We'll take a look at this again. Just look at what Rookie does here. Stun doesn't land, but it forces Shanks' flash. The wall here with Soboro's flank means that Hope has to flash over this wall, and they're trying to kill Jwei. Cool, you killed the Jayce, but you're still so far behind in other lanes. I think Shanks is just so far behind in items as well. He doesn't have the Actualizer. He just now finished his Seraphs. It's too far gone. Now you're going to be playing against a Mountain Soul team with 3 grubs. Invictus Gaming, this was a good setup, and we played around our Jayce really, really well. I think that this basically came down to that bottom side scuttle fight that AL slightly bungled.
It gave IG enough of an early lead to just brute force their way around first dragons of the game. Anyone's Legend were pretty much just playing catch up from that point on, and they could never find any targets to really make picks with on this Qiyana ultimate. And they never could find ways to roam effectively with Shanks either. And now it's down to just potentially one more good fight from IG to send us to a game 3.
Last minion waves, and Baron probably soon to be started here. Soboro with another nasty flank. And this mid turret is very low, so you could honestly just walk up and probably auto-attack it with the 3 grubs, and that's it.
Oh, he
pops the Dominus.
He's ready. No flash available. As soon as he walks up, Flandre is gonna be the first one to face check him, but the true shot barrage right on top. Immediate 5-4 advantage. And Anyone's Legend gonna do their best to delete the minion wave before it touches their tier 2 turret. It's defended for now, but IG with the man advantage can just try and force this Baron.
Alright, so what do we do as AL? Because IG have complete control of the river. Soboro is still flanking.
Soboro looks for hope once again. Jwei with the knockup onto Kael, trying to find a stun with the trample onto Hope's Misfortune. Kael the next one to drop. Great shot blast, great true shot barrage. The supreme display of talent holds them in place for now, but Shanks has to hold the line, but that job is way too difficult in a 1v5, and Tarzan will be the final piece of the puzzle lost to the winds. IG pick up another ace, the Baron will be secured, and you can imagine that this game is close to being wrapped.
I'm not imagining. I'm visualizing it right now. It's already on our screens. The end is near. 10,000 gold lead after they finish this Baron, and they've got the soul. Let's just watch them wrap it up at this point. Jwei is going to continue to be undefeated. There's a reason why this champion is so prioritized, even on the nerfs. Doesn't end up mattering. We didn't see any early invades from Tarzan, none available to them, and again, I'm going back to that river fight around the first scuttle. Just made the game impossible for them to play with the lead that Photic and Jwei were able to gain. Look back at this fight, I mean, Jwei is doing exactly what he needs to on this Alistar. Stand in front of Hope, do not let him get off the bullet time, because he has no flash from the last play. It's virtually impossible as IG to mess this one up. So IG are going to send us the 3. They're a team that we can, every time we want to count them out and we think they're done, they somehow got one left in them. Now, are they going to be able to close out the series?
Oh, he's alive.
That remains to be seen.
Bullet time doesn't get much value. Photic just arcane shifts over the wall. Kael is the first one they destroy on this rift. And IG now 5-4 for the next 30 seconds are going to start sieging and laying waste to all these structures, undermining every turret, every inhibitor that stands in their path. Tarzan with the supreme display of talent, only exchanged by rookie Zhonya's Hourglass. It was actually just a Seeker's insane value off the component. Jwei is making short work of the turret in the mid lane, just ensuring that they have every possible chance to close this game out as cleanly as possible and sending this series to the full distance. Shanks is the next one to die. Kael respawns just to watch the Nexus crumble right before his very eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to game 3 between Anyone's Legend and Invictus Gaming.
Why did we give up Jwei? Why? Just to pick Qiyana.
Anyone's Legend wanted to F around, and they found out real quick. So, this is now good data sampling that Jwei is still pretty damn good on this patch. I mean, we could have told you that just off of the fact that it's only monster damage nerfs, but, you know, hey.
I didn't need to waste 40 minutes of my life there for us to know that Jwei is still broken. That was... Yeah, okay. AL, great job. You lost game 2 coming in. I am markedly disappointed because that was a game that frankly shouldn't exist, right? Against BLG, I think it is a worthwhile gambit because you are 2 top teams coming into this league. Try out the Jwei, see how broken it is. Okay, we got punished, happens. There's no reason for us to be giving it over in game 2 of this series. We know how disgusting this is.
I will give some props to Photic's Ezreal because I know we weren't all super into the camp of it, But the fact that IG played heavily into that very first skirmish on the bottom side river, and Photic won the flip and was able to trust in his hands in that play, Ezreal becomes way more difficult to lock down later on. I mean, you have point and click CC from Shanks' Rise, but that usually involves him flashing forward or ghosting to get in position as well. And when Photic has that kind of lead on Ezreal already, and then the item build that we saw, you were blowing up Jwei's Jace, but at that point, you still have 2-3 threats that you're still trying to take out afterwards.
Yeah. I don't know what's worse, the fact that we had to give over the Jace in game 2 just to reiterate how broken it is, or the fact that I am now in a game 3 and I know we're not getting Yasuo Diana. And you're like, oh, the 1% of a Yasuo Diana, it'll happen. Jwei, we'll see Jwei and Rookie pick these 2 champions. It's not happening, brother. It's not happening.
Just let me dream, bro. Like, let me...
You know how you could have dreamed better? If this was an AL2O, you could be in bed. You can dream with your head on the pillow. Not this.
Dios mío. Well, Photic Ezreal's delivered. Look at that, 35.3k. He pumped damage this game. And, I mean, Tarzan tried his heart out to make it so that he wasn't getting completely gapped by Jwei's Jace, but his damage was still pretty much equal to a champion that they had committed to assassinating in the past 3 fights at the very beginning, and it still was not enough. And I mean, there is a lot of like crazy skirmishes that anyone's Legend were forcing just off of the, unfortunately, the failure of that bottom river fight at the beginning of the game.
Yep. All right, Mark, I want to do a slight bit of trivia because I don't care about the highlights of this game aside from maybe who is going to be the MVP. Can you name, if any, the Diana players from last year in the LPL?
Jungle Diana. Did
it could be any role. It could be any role. That's why I said, if any. From
any league? Worldwide?
From just LPL. Just LPL.
Oh, from LPL. I feel like... Did we see one from JJ?
We did.
Okay. That's the one I, like, faintly remember. Low-key, I feel like Jeja was the only person that played Diana jungle last year.
You'd be half right. There was one other player. His name is Shadow. He played it versus Top Esports. Both of these were in Split 2 playoffs.
Yeah, he was on FPX.
Yeah.
Did Kael play Yasuo? I don't think he played Yasuo with that.
I think he would. I mean, Kael has had a Pocky Yasuo. Take a look. Oh, this was this game. This was the game 4 where they played Rumble, Diana, Viego mid.
Oh, the Viego mid!
Where he almost smurfed. They almost smurfed this game at the very end, but it was a little too lost. Also had Jwei there. Jwei that we see here on IG. They're playing Senna and Braum.
Dude, I forgot about Viego mid because they buffed up his minion healing.
Yeah, it was like a one-patch wonder. There were some people who were like, oh, maybe we might see it. And then no one played it because
they're like, nah, this sucks. You know?
I think if you get Jace, you should probably still be playing in Nirvana. I'm gonna not lie about that one. Thank you.
Nice. JJ and Shadow. Oh.
All right, who's MVP? I think it's Photic.
Could be Soboro with the flanks. Could be Soboro with the flanks, but I
can't believe you play jungle Jace and you're not first up for MVP. It's too funny, man. It's just too funny. Oh, that's a pleasant surprise.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. I mean, like if they roll the highlights and show all like the river skirmishing, I mean, Jwei like played it to the extreme on his health bar, and it's like a very fine line he had to toe.
Sure.
Still think Photic also did a similar like performance, but you know, respect. I know Slayer will be a happy camper seeing that Jwei gets a Player of the Game award. But now, folks, we are going the distance. Wow. Unanimous decision from the broadcast too. Wow. Okay.
Huh.
No love for Photic's Ezreal at all.